That coil pack is destroyed because of the heat, which obviously cracked all that plastic. The spark plug was literally just sitting there. It's like someone sat it there and just decided we're just not going to tighten it anymore. You want to see something crazy? Take a look at this. Here's an ignition coil from my 2005 Toyota 4Runner with the 2UZ FE 4.7 liter V8. Yeah, those cracks, that's not normal. All that brown soot, that's not normal either. The reason that's there is quite simply due to a loose spark plug. But there's more to that story. What's going on, guys? I'm Jimmy with One Road. Today we're going to talk about my brand new, to me, 2005 Toyota 4Runner. This thing has 236,000 miles on it. According to the Toyota experts on YouTube, that's barely broken in. Recently, I got under that hood and noticed I had an oil leak on both valve covers. So I decided to fix that problem. I got online and lo and behold, valve covers on the 2UZ FE 4.7 liter V8 are a common issue, but everyone says that they're really easy to do, so I'm gonna do it. I went ahead and ordered the parts. I started on that passenger side, and of course you have to remove the ignition coils, which are dead center of the valve cover, in order to be able to remove that valve cover. So I started removing the air ducting and all that stuff, got to the ignition coils, and when I pulled out the middle two ignition coils, I was pretty shocked at what I saw. Looking at that second coil pack, here it is. We're still keeping with the theme that this is original. You can see Toyota Denso, made in Japan. But I did note that this one has, it looks like it could be combustion gases that are making its way past the spark plug. I'm curious if this spark plug is really loose. Okay, so I got my ratchet in there. Wow, no force whatsoever to move. I think this spark plug was completely loose. I mean, it wasn't tight whatsoever. That is shocking. Unbelievable. I mean, since I already have this thing in here, we might as well take it out and take a look at what the spark plug looks like. The spark plug looks absolutely fantastic. This is a factory installed spark plug. I don't know if it's original to the truck, but at least whoever possibly changed them out used the factory recommended plug. All right, taking a peek down inside this spark plug hole, you can see it is completely dry. We just have a lot of combustion gases that are covering and coating the inside of that spark plug well. This was a spark plug that was totally loose in there, which obviously is going to rob the engine of power, rob the engine of compression, and is just overall not good. We have the same sort of thing on this one. I can tell that these are combustion gases. They wipe off very easily. It's not oily. It's just like a very fine dust. How much you want to bet? I'm going to stick that socket down there, and this spark plug is going to be totally loose as well. Okay, I'm going to stick this spark plug socket down here. Oh my gosh, guys. It's not even tight. What in the world? You saw me do that. I've never taken this off before. I stuck the spark plug socket on there and can turn it by hand. Well, taking a look at the plug up close, it looks really good. Got a little crusty right there. But other than that, it looks great. Again, you can see it's the factory Denso, and all this brown buildup here is exhaust gases. Of course, the rest of this, where it isn't brown, was covered by that spark plug boot. Okay, let's check this last one. Cylinder number 8 here. Wow, this one is gonna be a chore to get out with the air conditioning lines right there. Well, thankfully, this last one looks a lot better. We are still seeing the Toyota Denso, and if we look at the boot, you can see it is in a lot better condition. We don't see any exhaust gases or anything like that on this, so that probably means that this spark plug was properly tightened, or at least tighter than the other ones. Okay, so just because that looks better, I am still curious if this plug is just finger tight. Let's see. It's definitely tighter because I can't loosen it with my hands. But let's go ahead and stick a ratchet on there, see what we're looking like. All right, so let's see how tight this is. Oh my gosh, that was barely tight. Wow, you gotta be kidding me. I know these aren't supposed to be super tight, you know, because the head is aluminum. I'm honestly a little nervous about why those were so loose. I really hope someone didn't over torque those and mess up the threads or something in the past. Okay, here's that last spark plug. This is cylinder number 8, and you can see this thing looks really good. Of course, we're not seeing the exhaust gas buildup here like we did on the last two, because this was tight enough to keep those exhaust gases in. Okay, well, you know about curiosity and the cat. I'm throwing the same spark plug that was in here back in the hole. I'm finger tightening it here, and I'm gonna throw a wrench on it just to see if I can give it a little tightening and without any problem. I think so. Okay, I have my torque wrench here set to 144 inch-pounds, which is 12 foot-pounds. Now, I'm not 100% on that torque spec. I did look up a few spots online, and that seems to be what people were saying, so I just really want to make sure that there's not a bigger problem here. There we go. All right, that's good news. Like, that's pretty crazy, right? I mean, 2 of those ignition coils were completely covered in ignition soot. The only way that there can be soot here is if there was combustion. Oh, there's combustion gases leaking right past that spark plug. So of course I checked those spark plugs and they were not even finger tight. I mean, I could have tightened them more with my fingers than they were. So they were just sitting there. Now, I don't have any idea if these have ever been touched, if those are installed from the factory and just through the heat cycles over all the years and all the miles, they've kind of loosened up. These are aluminum heads. The torque spec is very low, like somewhere around 13 foot-pounds. Don't quote me on that. So, okay, they've loosened up over time. Or did somebody totally forget to tighten them the last time they touched them? I don't know. These are factory-installed Denso plugs. Could they be from the factory 236,000 miles ago? They look kind of better than I would expect for something that had 236,000 miles, so I kind of doubt it, although it's possible, I guess. Now, okay, so I cleaned them up, reinstalled those spark plugs, torqued them. I want to say I torqued them to like 11 foot-pounds. I just wanted to be safe. And then I reinstalled those ignition coils because other than the soot, I cleaned them off and they seemed like they were still okay. I didn't see any cracks or anything on this side. But then I got to the driver's side. I was kind of in the back of my mind expecting to find the same because, well, those spark plugs were so loose, and I kind of mentioned this in the video when I was doing the valve cover gasket, but I already, just out of complete random curiosity, I wanted to know what plugs were in this thing when I first bought it. I took out on this driver's side the frontmost spark plug. It was loose. It was surprising how loose it was. Now, it wasn't loose enough to put combustion gases on that ignition coil, so I just kind of chalked it up to, oh, that's weird. Let me just put it back in and tighten it down a little bit more. So upon doing that valve cover job, I already had a suspicion that, hey, this side is going to be just the same, because the passenger side spark plugs were all loose, and I already know that that frontmost driver side plug was loose, so the other 3 have to be loose as well. So yes, that's exactly what I found. First coil pack out. This is the farthest one in the back here on the driver's side, and I just wanted to show you the condition of it because I did find some on the passenger side that were in very rough condition because of a loose spark plug. I am really curious if we're going to find some more of the same here. This one seems to be okay, although I am wondering why that silicone boot there isn't gray in color, but maybe they just came in 2 different colors, like a more brown color and a more gray color. Or maybe this has been changed out in the past. It does look to be original though. Okay, here's the 3rd one back on the driver's side, which I believe is cylinder number 5. Guess what we see here? This is combustion soot. And guess why we see that? Well, I can almost guarantee you that the spark plug down there is totally loose. Wow, look what else I just found. This is insane. There are cracks all the way through this thing. This definitely has to be replaced. Never seen anything like that before. Okay, I have my spark plug socket here. This is the farthest one back. See how loose the spark plug is, if I can loosen it by hand. I don't think so. That's good. Okay, this 3rd one back, however, cylinder number 5, just like we found on the other side, I bet you I can loosen this by hand. Here we go, let's see. Yep, look at that. Completely loose. Not tightened whatsoever. I can completely loosen this spark plug by hand, which means that it wasn't sealing, and therefore you obviously lose compression, which is going to cause a rough idle. It's going to cause low power. It's also going to cause low fuel mileage. So this is a problem. I don't understand why I saw 2 on the passenger side and now 1 here on the driver's side that is so loose I can simply loosen the whole spark plug by hand. Let's see what the spark plug looks like. Okay, looking at the actual tip of the spark plug, it looks okay. I don't see anything that would alarm me. Well, here's the second one back, and you can see it looks like we also have that combustion chamber soot. Not as much as on the other one, but it definitely looks like we have a buildup there. So let's check that spark plug. Overall, this coil pack does look to be in better condition. I don't see any cracks or anything, and it does appear to be original. All right, I'm gonna stick my socket down here. I believe this is cylinder number 3, second one back. So let's see how loose this spark plug is. Here we go. Okay, definitely a little tighter than finger tight because I can't loosen it. Let's see if I use 2 hands. All right, now the thing is it may still be very, very loose. So I'm just gonna lightly try to loosen this and see how loose it is. Oh my gosh. What is going on? It was just, yeah, I couldn't get it with my fingers, but it was barely past finger tight, which again is not gonna seal off that cylinder, the pressures that are in there. It's just not. Those pressures are gonna come out. You can see the exhaust gases and the soot all over the coil packs. This third one back, cylinder number 5, that coil pack is destroyed because of the heat, which obviously cracked all that plastic. The spark plug was literally just sitting there. It's like someone sat it there and just decided we're just not going to tighten it anymore. It's unbelievable. So that's 2 now on this side, which was the same middle 2 as I had on the passenger side. If you own this Toyota 4.7 liter V8 and it's been a while since you've checked your spark plugs, you got to get in there and recheck these because this seems to be a common theme here on this engine. We have 236,000 miles and we have very, very loose spark plugs, which is not good. All right, let's see what this spark plug looks like. Okay, so here's this cylinder number 3, second one back on the driver's side. Yeah, the spark plug, I mean, it looks fantastic. You can see some of those combustion gases. That's just where the boot wasn't covering. This potentially could be, I can't imagine someone not changing these out in 236,000 miles, but potentially this could be the original plug to the truck. I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall this and torque it down to 12 foot-pounds. Okay, I actually have my torque wrench here set to 140 inch-pounds, which is actually just below 12 foot-pounds. There we go. Now this to me is just way too much of a coincidence that every single one of my spark plugs was unbelievably loose. Like I said, you could chalk it up to years and years and years and miles of just heat and cold and heat and cold and the expansion and contraction, and I guess that could loosen a spark plug. I'm just assuming here, I don't know. Or it could be that they were loose from the factory and these plugs have never been changed. Again, I don't know. So I got online and what I found was so many people complaining of the exact same thing. Now again, I don't know if those were original factory installed spark plugs. I don't know if they had been changed. I don't know the details. All I know is there were plenty of stories talking about loose spark plugs, people being shocked by how loose their spark plugs are. So now I'm seeing that this is a common issue, a very common issue it seems. Every single one of mine were loose. So should loose spark plugs be added to the list of the very common issues on the 2UZ-FE? This 4.7 liter V8 engine that runs for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles, if not a million miles, there's stories out there. So I'm kind of perplexed as to how I found this. How have these spark plugs not been checked? How have they potentially not been replaced? If they have, why are they already loose? There's just a lot of questions there. There's more. Trust me, there's more. Okay, so that being said, I bought a new ignition coil because obviously I can't reinstall that one that's cracked. Actually, I bought 2 new ignition coils. I bought them on Rock Auto and I bought Denso. And from the looks of it, these ignition coils are the exact same ignition coil. This is my opinion. The exact same ignition coil as the factory ignition coil. It just doesn't say Toyota on there. Let me show you what I'm talking about. This is a factory ignition coil. On it, it says Toyota 90919-02249 Denso made in Japan. So this is a Denso box, you can see. So let's take a look at this Denso plug coil. So here's that Denso coil. It is factory sealed, you know, no one's, you know, opened the plastic, installed it, sent it back. This is brand new. So I'm going to open the plastic. And here is that Denso coil. It's obviously completely identical as much as I can tell. It does say Denso on the top with the sticker, has the part number, and it says made in Japan. What I like to see. But take a look at the nameplate here. Look at how interesting that is. New one on the left, of course, but it's almost like it used to say Toyota and then they like took it off of there. I don't know. That's just so interesting that it's literally the exact same part. So I want to say from the dealership, these were 80 something a piece, 85, 86 maybe, to get them from the dealership. To get them on Rock Auto, again, they look like the exact same part, same manufacturer, made in Japan, all that. These were, I think, 50 bucks a piece. So you're saving 30 something dollars per one. That's a big savings, especially if you needed to buy 8 of them. So I'm definitely not going to be reinstalling this cracked one. And here's our brand new Denso ignition coil going in. My rear view mirror just broke off. The glue that holds it to the glass looks like it just failed, so that's awesome. Got a new thing to fix. Oh man. I did check the oil and we're full. I still do feel a little bit of a shimmy. Well, she's running really good, though there is still a little bit of a shimmy. But rest assured, I have a full set of spark plugs that I still have yet to do on this. These are still the original spark plugs from who knows when. So we are going to do a full spark plug job on this, and then perhaps we'll go from there. This thing's driving really, really nice. I just drove it up this pretty steep path. This is actually a really steep path down there, and it's muddy. We just had a bunch of rain, so I'm really surprised at how easy this took that. It is in 4 low, but I mean, nothing spun. That was just awesome. Well, I do hope you enjoyed this video. The purpose of it, again, was just to say, check your spark plugs. Even though these engines run forever and the spark plugs say that they're 100,000 mile plugs, we definitely need to check those plugs to make sure that they didn't loosen up over time, or that the last person that touched them, you know, torqued them correctly. It's always good to just get in there and just make sure things look good, sound good. You know, if your engine is running a little bit weird, it may be time for new plugs. I have a brand new set of plugs that are going to be going in this thing very, very soon, so I can't wait to change those out. But the first thing I wanted to do was get that bad ignition coil swapped out, put this thing back together, start it up, take it for a drive, and that's what I've just been able to do. I wanted to bring to attention just how crazy it was that I found so many, all of my spark plugs were so unbelievably loose. I just can't believe that. So I thought I'd make a video, kind of a PSA, if you will, for Toyota owners and anyone else. You know, if you drive a vehicle and you haven't checked your plugs in a while, check your plugs. Those things seemingly do come loose on their own. Anyhow, I'm Jimmy for One Road, and I will see you in the next one. You can see we're still in 4 low here. Like I said, it is pretty steep. Oh yeah.